Hey, 6-Bolt Von Doom's Lab. This is Hook of the Reaper release for version 1.3.5. But hey, at least not a quick release. I don't think a lot of people expected this to happen, but yeah, kind of, I guess, kicked ass and got shit done. So, before I get into the good stuff, what bugs was there? I did have a unset or uninitialized variable. This is for the command file space variable that was messing up Hook of the Reaper sometimes. So I did fix it yesterday, so I did upload new files. I don't think a lot of people even downloaded version 1.3.4.1.3.4.e. So I just put it in there. Like I said, it fixed it yesterday. It's fixed in here. So it was trying to search for a string, but like I said, it wasn't initialized variable, so it could crash Hook of the Reaper. But now it's fixed. But that's the small thing. So what's the big thing? Well, it's RPEG Brooks board. Yay, we have it in Hook of the Reaper now. So I know, pretty crazy. So you actually get to play around with it. So, but before I kind of get into that, I probably just want to talk a little more about how much of a clusterfuck it was. So pretty much, like I told a lot of times, there's no library with it. Usually when somebody has like something like this, they'll have a library that you can get. Then you can use the library commands to do the settings and do, the LEDs, update the LEDs. It's usually pretty small. It's not that much. I mean, it's just moving. It says, okay, write these LEDs to this color. Set these settings. I mean, it's pretty small. So it's like Ultimark has it. Actually, Ultimark actually gives it to you and plus gives you all the code so you can actually change the code and make your own library. But yeah, it was not at all in this. So I'm guessing the person was depending on free labor. I mean, open source people. So, but pretty much RPG Brooks, pretty much, I guess, Brooks manufacturer just gave a spreadsheet on how to do this. And yeah, that spreadsheet was a piece of crap. Literally. I mean, it kind of barely helped out. So I pretty much had to do a lot of figuring out the last couple of days, figure out the settings, and there's still kind of like one setting I still haven't got, but instead of sitting there trying to throw numbers at it, I'm going to probably do a different method and to get it, which is a lot easier. I mean, not a lot easier, but a lot better because then I'll just get the data. So if I do it, then I'll kind of make a video so people know how to do it to get the USB HID info and all that. So it's like people shouldn't have to reverse engineer like a board when working with the company. This is like a crazy thing. Like still hard to wrap my head around. So it's like, what, you can't get the information on your own product? I mean, this is kind of crazy. So I don't know. Maybe the manufacturer's doing this to try to get more money, saying, "Hey, we can give it to you, give us money or something." I don't know, but yeah, it was bad. So I do have kind of like a spreadsheet of some of the stuff, and if RPEG says it's okay, I'll throw it up on the website. So then people will know because, like I said, usually libraries are easy to do. But if you have to reverse engineering it, that's not easy. That's like hard. So yeah, this is not how to do things. This is crazy. But I'll get off my soapbox now. So, okay, so getting into RPG Brooks board. So it has its own group file. So kind of like Altamark and Lighthook Strip have their own group files. This has its group files. And the main reason because this board supports 1 to 4 players, right? And then the players have their own LED buttons. So then you have player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. So how do you kind of separate that out and all that? So I think I have like an example here. So this comes with Hook of the Reaper. So as you can see here, I have a new group. So you have group RGB player. Then the same thing, you go group, you go space, and you put the number in. Then you have 256 group numbers. But now, when you have pin data, you got to put P1, P2, P3, or P4 in there. Then you can do 1 to 19. Because right now with the software, you can have 19 LEDs. It can go up to 20. So, I can put it in to make 20, but since the software is not supporting it, I didn't put it in. So it's 19, it's only one. So maybe in the next release, I'll make it where people can make it 20 if they wanted to. But yeah, no, so now, yeah, player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. So this is if you want to put the pins in the group. So this group here pretty much has all the pins for each player. Then the next group is just player 1. The next group is player 2, player 3, player 4. Then I have half of player 1, then the top half of player 1, and so on. This is kind of just give you an example of how the group file works. So it's kind of easier. Instead of Ultimark having 3 different groups, this is just one. That's kind of easy. You have player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. And then you can actually open up the RBG software and know exactly what's connected. Then you know, hey, 1 is this, 2 is this, and 3 is that kind of thing. So that is good. So maybe I can actually get that info, then maybe put that in there. But like I said, it's like kind of crazy. I almost want to work on my own stuff or trying to reverse engineering somebody else's stuff. It's like right now it works. It's like you can put it in the groups and all that. But okay, getting off soapbox again. So this is how you create the group file. So then you can have color too and color map. And also I got this up on the website too. So if you come here, you'll see RPG Brooks group file. Then the last thing is you can change the default brightness or the max brightness. So you can put that into the group file. I don't have an example of that. Maybe I'll put that in next time. But you can put like this default brightness in, and then it will change all the players to that default brightness. If not, it uses what's set in the values already because it has its own max brightness values. So then, like I said, you have color, then color map. So kind of very similar to Ultimark, but this time you only have one group to make it easy. And this time, like I said, you have players. So each pin line now has to start with a P, then the player number 1 through 4. So, and just like Ultimark, you don't start at 0, this starts at 1. So same with player and the pin, so it kind of makes it easier on people. But that's how the group file works, just the same thing kind of like Ultimark does. Okay, so kind of talked about this. One group, yeah, I already talked about 20 LEDs, but it was 20 LEDs, but I thought from the spreadsheet it said 32. So I was like, 32? Oh, that's cool, because it actually has 5 bits, right? 5 bits is 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. So that's why you can have 32. But yeah, you only get to 20. And the reason for that, I found out, is for the USB HID, right, with the report, you can get 20 RGB LEDs into it. So it's a 64 bytes. Then you use the top 4 bytes for the protocol. Then you have 60 bytes left, right? So 60 divided by 3 is 20, because each one has 3 bytes for red, green, and blue. So it originally had, like, it would support RGBW, but I guess they took it out. Like I said, that was in the other spreadsheet, but going but that's kind of why I think it looks like 20. I don't think they can maybe not do 32. I probably might have to do a firmware update, or like I said, there might be other stuff. It's pretty much have to reverse engineer everything on this, which is kind of crazy. Like I said. So now with the group file, like, how do you well, here I'll go to the next one before I'll get to how to put it in. So what are the commands now for the RPG Brooks board? Well, basically it just reuses all the Altimark RGB commands. So anything Altimark RGB commands you can use on the RPG Brooks, which is good. So I get to reuse actually things. So if you come down here now, you see Altimark in RPG Brooks commands. So if you come here, you'll see RPG can only do RGB commands. So pretty much you got flash, all the flash RGB, reload flash, death flash, random flash, color map, random flash 2 colors, sequence, color map, reload sequence, color map, the 2 slashes, slash, then the follower, which I kind of talked about, now the new follower RGB value in the background too. So I tested those working out, so it's good. So those are the commands, so people should know them from Altimark too. So like I said, everything is programmable. All the flashes, you can set the time on, time off. Right now, it's not in the test lake controller window. Usually I always have, on the second release, I always put it into the test lake controller. So right now, it's not in there, but it's in the add and edit lake controllers. But I try to test out much as I can. As people know, I can only do so much physical stuff, so I can test so much. So please test it out, and if you find anything, please let me know so I can get it fixed. But since a lot of this stuff is being reused, a lot of it should kind of work. So hopefully not expecting that many bugs, but usually I don't have that many bugs anyway, so hopefully, but now I said that, now I'm going to have a crap load of bugs, but hopefully we don't. So please test it out, and then you can tell me or email me at gamefiles at 6bolt.com. So now for if you go into the examples, you'll see Altimark. Now Altimark is Altimark RPG, right? So with anything Altimark RPG is now Altimark RPG, RPEG RGB. Jeez. So, but the one thing I just talked about was the follower RGB value. So the delay refresh on that is static, and it's at 8 milliseconds. But because of that, right now, you can only use one kind of light controller for follower RGB value. You can use the Altimark or the RPEG. You can't use both of them. So I don't think people are going to be using both of them at one time anyway. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I'll fix it in a later release, probably the next one. Like I said, it's not in the test light controller window, and I'll fix this. But yeah, that covers commands. So how do you get it the board in? So what you do now, it's pretty easy. Kind of is like the same with Altimark. You come here to add lake controller. So I have an Altimark plugged in. Now you have three. You have Altimark, Light Hook Strip, and RPG Brooks. So that should be in there. I think I might have it already loaded up. Yeah, so let me delete that. So now we can go back to it. So you come here, and then that will load up just like the Altimark. So if you go to Altimark, it's pretty much almost the same exact kind of thing. So now you just set the group file, which, like I said, it comes with the example of the group file, right? I have the example there. So then you can open that. Then you add it. And that's it. Pretty simple to do to add the light controller, just like Altimark. So then I have the files for and the examples. So if you go to light files and you go to examples, then there's Altimark RPEG to see the examples there. Then you can use the example group files for everything. But that's pretty much it. So now if you come here to edit, you only can pretty much do is just edit the group file and change it. Or you can delete it. That's pretty much the only thing you can kind of do with RPEG and Altimark. So it's pretty easy to do. So that's how you add it. So pretty easy, not too much to do. So the one thing I said, if you change modes, because it does have like the 4-player DirectX or 2-player DirectX and 2 keyboard or 4 keyboard. So if you change it, you might have to unplug it and connect to it, and or might have to redo it. You might have to delete it, then add it back if you do change that. But I don't think people are going to be changing that much up. So just to kind of warn people, I don't think it should be okay, but just to tell people that, just to warn people. But since Altimark's kind of been out there, Altimark RUBB, hopefully people know how to do some of those files and reuse them. I think there's some files already floating around. I think there's a default, some default files for it already out there. But yeah, now I'll wait for kind of people to test things. Maybe I'll try to get the other stuff in the test, that controller, but I'm trying to go now, work on finally the Linux conversion, and also get my LED strips installed, so I actually can finally get Lead Hook Strip actually installed on my TV, which is kind of sad since I created it, but I haven't installed it on my TV yet. But like I said, I can only do so much things physically, so that's kind of why. But yeah, so I know this kind of coming out of nowhere. I don't think people expected it right now, but good things come. So the files are up on the website. And that's it. Thanks. Bye.